The Edgy, potentially unnecessary update, a comic book staple. When we went to look at how Batman got that dinosaur in the Batcave, we went back to the original source, the Golden Age. In the story called Dinosaur Island, a tale of robots, questionable meat, and hunting the most dangerous game. Man. But in the comments of this video, it was brought to my attention that there was another telling of this origin. Rather, there was an update, a retelling, a redux. Dinosaur Island 2.0. So of course, I had to check it out and share it with you. So we can compare, contrast, discuss which is the more fun way that Batman got his dinosaur. Or just which do you prefer? I'm Sasha, this is Casually Comics, and I'm excited to return to Dinosaur Island. I'll link our last video so you can check it out, but if you have no time, I'll do a very brief cliff notes. In Batman issue 35 from 1946, Batman was invited to Dinosaur Island, a soon-to-be-open themed amusement-style island created by Mr. Murray Wilson Hart, a showman with a flair for the dramatic. At the opening dinner, things took a turn for the eccentric when a millionaire, Mr. Breach, challenged Batman to take on a dinosaur with his bare hands. Or at least without his utility belt.
Batman, you're a product of the 20th century. Your utility belt, Batmobile, plane, etc. are the weapons of your hunt. But the caveman, he fought enemies barehanded. Could you?
But the evil Stephen Chase got involved and tried to kill Batman. He didn't succeed. Batman and Robin fought a lot of robot dinosaurs and cavemen and came out on top. And then Batman got a dinosaur. Now let's see what the 90s had to offer. Our retelling comes from Batman Chronicles number 8 from 1997. And this is also the story that gets on the cover, with a dinosaur that looks like it's laughing at Batman a little bit. The art and writing in this is by Graham Nolan, and the colors are by Patricia Mulvihill. Batman Chronicles is different than The Batman Chronicles, which was a series archiving classic Batman stories. Batman Chronicles was an anthology series that ran from 1995 to 2001. It had 23 issues, and the stories would all be about Batman, the Bat family, or Batman villains. But you would always get Batman in at least one story, and in number 8 you got him in 2. Our setup here is a bit different. No longer has Batman been invited to the inaugural opening of Dinosaur Island, but instead he's here to investigate a murder, and Dinosaur Island has been open for a while.
The coroner ruled the death a suicide. Master Bruce was of a different opinion. He knew it was murder the moment he read the headlines. Dinosaur Island owner found dead. Murray Wilson Hart, founder and principal owner, found hanged. Kudos for the correct grammatical usage of hanged versus hung. You hung up clothes, you hanged a person. The entire story is narrated by Alfred, and the premise is Batman investigating this murder of Murray Hart by his business partner Stephen Chase. The park was once a popular attraction, but over time interest has waned, and that means that also attendance has gone down. Dinosaur Island is now viewed as something a bit old-fashioned, a bit quaint, kind of cute. Out of date. I sense an underlayer of commentary there. Chase wanted to revamp the park, make it more thrilling, a bit more like a horror outing, because he'd seen Jurassic Park. But Hart would have none of it. He wanted a place where children could be educated as well as amused. A rather novel idea these days.
There is a sharp juxtaposition between this comment and the fact that it's happening in a story that is doing a darker rendition of a Golden Age story, which is a story that many would deem to be more lighthearted, although that can often be because of a conflation between the Golden and Silver Ages. So the Silver had a lot more of the silly, the Gold could go very hard, because the Gold is pre-code, and that means that sometimes you'll see things. As Batman defeats the giant T-Rex robot, Chase begins to speak with him over the park's speaker system, as it's him who's been controlling the robots. And so he tries to kill Batman with a bunch of cavemen, with a pterodactyl.
By the way, how do you know where to find me? The silent type A. Hey, those machines cost me $500,000. Write off your taxes. I'd rather write you off. What?
Not the strongest comeback, but we'll take it. Batman manages to capture Chase and then gets extremely maudlin. He just gets very, very down, questioning everything. Why does he even do what he does? What's the point of being Batman?
I let my emotions take control, thought of myself, what I wanted, instead of others. That's dangerous. While I indulged myself, greater, more immediate evils were slipping by. Sometimes I wonder if what I do even makes a difference. Half of the murderers, thieves, and junkies I've put away are back on the streets. Even that homicidal clown isn't doing any prison time. I could not allow myself the luxury of self-indulgence. My, aren't we dark tonight? If I may, sir, it seems you're having difficulty keeping perspective. Perhaps what you require is something to remind yourself of your victories.
Alfred's like, you seem sad. You know what'll fix this? A giant dinosaur.
For who could doubt all the good they've done when they have a giant T-Rex to look at?
You know, maybe if the T-Rex had menaced people and then he'd saved some people from it, that might have a bit more weight and oomph. But as it stands, it's very much like, oh, want a big toy dinosaur, Bruce?
Does Brucey want a dinosaur?
Now, in this story, unlike the Golden Age, we do get a partial explanation as to how we got it. How we got from A, dinosaur on the island, to B, dinosaur in the cave. Alfred has an alias that he uses to collect antiques, and so he buys it, and somehow it gets to the Batcave. He butlers it in. His alter ego is named Thaddeus Middleton, by the way. Great name. Bruce doesn't look that impressed, which amuses me. You know you've seen too much / have too much money when you cannot even be moved by a giant dinosaur in your possession. And so that was the revamp. Short and sweet. Well, overall, the story fails to eclipse the original, as evidenced by the fact that that's the one that is more referenced or referred to and has been reprinted numerous times, and it's what people tend to think of if they are aware of it. This one has fallen a bit more down the memory hole, been a bit more forgotten overall by the general public, or just by general comic fandom, although of course if you're deep you'll find it. As far as stories go, it is stronger if you have read the Golden Age tale, because lots of details are reimaginings of that story, and so you can appreciate them more if you know what scene is being tweaked or recreated. Like Batman on the Pterodactyl is a different take on how they use a pterodactyl robot when they get Robin to attach to it and fly down with his water balloon to destroy the controls that Chase is using. And we also have some scenes that are just redone, like Batman being attacked by all of those cavemen. On the whole, this newer version is much more bite-sized, so you don't have the elapsing of time where it's happening over 36 hours, and so it does feel a bit more concise. And the update of Chase in the control tower versus running around with remote control adds some gravitas to the proceedings, and of course is a result of the change in time period. However, overall, while this version is more structured and logical than its Golden Age counterpart, it's a bit less fun. The grim musings on Bruce having to suppress the injustices that make him angry to focus on larger ones doesn't quite land in the context and doesn't feel earned, since it's a very abrupt link to his childhood that you haven't heard before. He's just going on about being selfish, and the reader is potentially like, when did you go to Dinosaur Island? Although again, for some this will just be a quick bite-sized story, and so it may land better. Some of the shadowed Batman panels are just gorgeous, very atmospheric. On the whole, this sets a very dark, grim tone. However, there is love for the original story clearly present in how some of the details are brought forward. It's an interesting new take on it, but potentially unnecessary. It doesn't really add much, it just recontextualizes it in a more serious tone. And is that really necessary? You can decide. I want to hear from you. What do you think of this version of how Batman got his dinosaur? Do you think this is the stronger outing? I want to hear. I also have to shout out one of the commenters from the last time we talked about Batman's dinosaur. In that video I asked you about a chess game that I had played when I was younger but couldn't remember what it was, and one of you knew what it was, and the answer was combat chess. A lot of you suggested battle chess, but it was combat chess. So I want to thank that person because I found that game for $5 on Steam, and it's been a good time. It's janky because it's old, but it's still very fun. Chess pieces slaughtering each other. I appreciate all of you who were there and tried to help me find it, as well as I appreciate all of you for taking some of your day to spend discussing comics with me. Please, if you enjoy, do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so that you never miss a vid. There will of course be more videos coming soon, and I will see you there. Bye-bye.